Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our interview session for the online magazine Inbox 7. It is our great pleasure to introduce to you our guest, the Ambassador of the EU, Mr. Aivo Orav. Mr. Ambassador, it's a great pleasure to have you here today with us. Welcome. My first question is, October will arrive fast with all these changes that Macedonia is going through, parliamentary and presidential elections. Can we expect for a better report from the European Commission in the autumn?
So, welcome here to the EU delegation first. I don't know what exactly we can expect, whether it's more positive or less, but I can confirm that this will be very objective. At least we try to do our best that it will be as objective as possible. We are preparing this progress report full year. We start from 1st of September and the deadline to give our input is 1st of September 2014, so that everything what your politicians, government, in opposition, civil society, journalists, public institutions are doing, this is noted here in the EU delegation. We put it on the paper and we send it to Brussels. But what is very important to mention, we are writing it only technically. You are writing, in reality, this report.
Let's talk about the future. Can you give us a brief description of the benefits that Macedonia will gain as a member of EU? Can we talk about the European dream because Euroscepticism is in the rise due to the prolonged process?
It is quite clear that the European Union is still a dream for many countries because there are a lot of countries behind the European Union doors who are knocking on our doors. And we are ready to accept new members. And this is very clear because just a bit more than half a year ago, new country joined the European Union, Croatia, now Serbia became candidate country, and it seems that Albania is moving as well. So that this train is moving. And why the countries want to join the European Union? I think first of all, the shared values, democracy, peace. Those are the main things why this European Union is needed.
High-level accession dialogue is supposed to mean a bridge towards the negotiation process. How about the Copenhagen criteria? Where do we stand with the reform implementations?
So here are several questions in one question. First, the high-level accession dialogue. We started with high-level accession dialogue 2012, 2 years ago, and it was very positively perceived here in the country. Even people on the streets, they were talking about high-level accession dialogue. And this was kind of opportunity how to move forward, how to encourage the government to make the reforms, in particular in those areas which were critically mentioned in the progress report. Rule of law, freedom of media, fight against corruption. So at the moment we have achieved many targets, and I hope very much that this high-level accession dialogue will continue to identify new targets what have to be achieved. But high-level accession dialogue was never to substitute the negotiations. Negotiations are negotiations. At the same time, it could help that when the time comes and your country starts the negotiations, then it's just easier. Theoretically, it could be so that one day one negotiating chapter is opened and then second day will be closed because all the homework is done. The Copenhagen criteria, political criteria, it's one of the keys whether the European Commission recognizes the country as a candidate country for the European Union. My reply is yes, because last October, when European Commission issued its progress report and recommendation to start the negotiations with your country, it was based only on the perception that the country meets the Copenhagen criteria.
How much can the EU wait for the name dispute to be resolved? Does this mean that we will always be in the HLAD process if the name issue will not be solved anytime soon?
We have waited exactly as long as you have waited, and we can wait more. So, of course, we don't want to do it, and I personally would be very happy if this issue will be solved immediately now so that we can move forward. But of course, there are also other issues which are considered now very much good neighborly relations with another neighbor here, Bulgaria. Then those three issues what I just mentioned in the framework of high-level accession dialogue, it means rule of law, fight against corruption, and freedom of media.
In the past years, the EC delegation has reported that Macedonia is not using correctly or enough the IPA funds. Can we say that this year this situation has been improved, or do we still face this problem?
So we are constantly working in this direction that the IPA funds, what the European Union is giving for a candidate country, will be utilized 100%. But this 100%, it's target. There is no country inside the European Union which is utilizing 100% the money what they get from structural funds, and there is no candidate country who can do it. Again, we try to help the government as much as possible to use this money, because the money is here, and our task is to assist the country and to use this money 100%. Why we are giving this money, it's also very clear, because accession process is very expensive. There are the reforms which perhaps would not be done without this foreign assistance. So that's the main reason why we give this money. And of course, most visible projects are infrastructure projects, highways, railways, and so on. Very expensive area is environment, and we would like to see also better utilization of European Union money there. But there are many projects which are not so visible, like strengthening the public institutions, strengthening NGOs, and so on, so on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. To switch in a slightly different topic, but still remain in the European Commission, just a weeks ago we had, how to say, the EC judged the Albanian party that is in the government, DUI, because they call for a boycott from the Albanian voters not to vote the future president. This does not lie in the frame of democracy, because actually it deprives citizens from their own right to vote. What is your stance about this issue? Should we be very worried from such political message, let's say?
Actually, the word of boycott is something what perhaps should not be used in democracy, because politicians are elected to implement the will of the voters. And if I'm saying that this boycott is perhaps not the best way to deal with the issues, I'm not referring here to one or another ethnic Albanian party, but I'm referring also to the majority governmental and opposition parties. So I think this is not exactly the best way how to participate in democratic processes.
First, we saw uprising and revolts in Turkey, where you were actually an ambassador there. Now Europe has to deal with the Ukrainian revolution. Can we expect any change in the Balkans from all this revolution, especially in Macedonia?
It's difficult to make forecasts like that, because in the beginning of the year, nobody ever thought what the Russian Federation did now a few days ago. Nobody ever thought it in their worst dreams. Now those worst dreams actually are in reality. So that to tell what is going to happen here on Balkans or other parts of the world, I really don't know. We just follow the issues, and of course from the European Union side, we try to work as much as possible to prevent the further escalation. However, here in your country, this is very important that there is a unity, common understanding between the parties, that European Union and NATO, those are the goals, what the country wants to achieve. And I think this unity probably helps you to move forward. And we see also the same developments and same positions in other countries in Western Balkans.
What would be your general message towards the Macedonian citizens about the process of the EU?
Again, becoming member of the European Union, this is not the easy process at all. I'm coming from a very small country, and it seemed that everything was very easy for us, but the negotiations itself, they took 7 years' time. So that never give up. It's important to work towards the European Union. The goal is there, and this goal helps the country to reform, to become better, to be democratic. And this is something what is important for every citizen of the country.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.